Hello and welcome back to the podcast that will definitely frame you for murder. Welcome back to another episode of the Love, Death and Movies podcast, Internet's #1 film breakdown and review show, the show that crushes watch this week after week. Every couple of months is a different genre. Every week in that couple of months is a different film in that genre. So follow us and everything. Join us the ride. Let's watch some movies. Perfect. Perfect. It's like we've been doing this for like 155 episodes or something. With me each and every week, Ash for Movies. How are you, Ash? We haven't recorded in a couple of weeks, so how are you?
Yeah, I don't remember the last time. I'm doing all right.
We talked
Somehow
about
it's
Phone
almost...
Booth the last time.
Oh,
The
right.
super memorable movie Phone Booth.
Yeah. Yeah, somehow it's the end of February, basically, this week, which is
Oh yeah.
nutty. But yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm standing. I'm in my office
Hell yeah.
again, so that's something. I don't have my microphone
Huge
set up
victory.
yet, but that's definitely a win. Just been reading and watching like a loon.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So what have you been reading lately? Because I saw that
I've read so many
you're
things.
up to book 6 of the year. That's huge.
Yeah, I finished Project Hail Mary obviously a couple weeks ago, and then I just busted through like four thrillers. I read The Boyfriend, The Teacher, and The Coworker. So those are all Frida
Oh
McFadden
yeah.
books. And then
She's so
today I
good.
finished.
She's
She
so
is.
much
I didn't
fun.
really care for The Coworker. That one was a little like,
Nah,
eh.
I'm more reading like her writing style. It's just so much fun to read.
I mean, I literally read each book in 2 days. So that
Yeah.
gives you an idea of just how easy they are to read, which is
It was
fun.
funny.
There's a place for them for
I'm
sure.
not sure if you noticed, Megs, my girlfriend, started following you on Fable.
Oh, yeah, I
And
saw that.
she's just like, wow, she went up like 80% in a day.
My
I
goal
was
was
like, I think,
15 books this year, and I've already read six, and I'll be starting my seventh one probably tomorrow. So I think
well
I'll definitely
done.
read more than 15. But yeah, I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. That's Holly Jackson, who did Not Quite Dead Yet, which I think we've
Yep.
talked about. So that one's fun. It's a trilogy series, so I bought the trilogy, so I'm going to just read the other two. Just
Nice.
why not? And then I'll probably switch to something else after this. I have a book that's like a drama fiction from Kristen Hanna, so I might read that next just to change it up. And then I'll go
She's the
back
one
to
that did
thrillers.
Nightingale, right?
Yeah, and I've read that and it's a beautiful book. It's a hefty book, but
I've
it's
heard it
really
like
good.
destroys you, but it
Yeah, I
rebuilds
cried on
you.
a plane finishing that book.
Good.
That was like the first book I read that got me back into reading like 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago
Good,
now.
good, good.
So, anyways, yeah, so that's what I've been reading and it's been really nice. So, how are
Epic.
you?
Good. Um, Starting off reading wise, because of course this is a movie podcast. I finished. I haven't been reading too much. Well, I've been reading a lot, but I've just been like doing a lot slower than I did in January, which is okay. I read Wild Duck Shore, which is Charlotte McCogany, I think is how you pronounce her last name. Australian author. One of the best books I've ever read. I think it's truly spectacular. I adored it, and yeah, I think it's just brilliant, and I'm really looking forward to when you're getting through your list and you can finally get to Wild Duck Shore so that you can chat about it. And
Hmm.
now I've started Red Rising, which was just been recommended to me by like 50 different people. Series, there's 6 books out, and the seventh is going to be the last one. It comes out this year, not a date released yet. Um, I'm like 70% through the first book. It's fucking awesome. Like, this is one of the best worlds I've ever read, and I'm 70% through the first book. It
Wow.
is, and everyone that's read it, like not every, vast majority of people say that the first book is the weakest, the first book's still great, but the first book is the weakest, and I'm like, if it goes up from here, holy shit, let's go! Like, I it would take me hours to describe this book, but it's so well written. It's very easy to read. It's like it's got Hunger Games esque to it, but it's a bit more adult than Hunger Games, which is pretty
Okay.
cool. But it's really really cool. I highly recommend. And there's rumors that Apple are going to buy the rights. They're going to make movies and TV shows about it. I think Pierce Brown's the writer, and I think he wants to make it a show. It's probably the best way to do it. I don't think it could be made into a
I
movie.
think books definitely shows are a more interesting way to go.
Just to flesh out the world a bit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I love the Harry Potter movies, but I'm very curious with the series, for example, like how much more they're going to be able to include and not feel like they have to cut out because they don't have time. So,
Exactly. Yeah. And then
nice.
this why my voice is a little hoarse today. I got back from a Bucks party or bachelor party, as Barracks Land calls it. Um, this weekend, where it was just like we went to some country town on a beach, and just drank beers, played board games, just went into the sea. I tell you what, I drank heaps on the Friday. We got there Friday morning, like obscene amount. And Saturday woke up, pretty bad hangover. I just walked into the sea, just literally like just to like have a swim. That sounded really dark. No, I just had a swim, and then I was planning on getting out. Instantly the hangover's cured. Like there's something about like fresh salt water just against you. It's just like it's fucking stunning. But yeah, other than that, Ash, AFL season starts up next week.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so lock in, because we're gonna have weekly updates every single week, except for the weeks that we lose, which is great because we might never lose again. That's my motto for this year. So we'll get into it. But Ash, we're continuing on the, what are we calling it? The Book of Closed Setting Cinema. All right?
Yeah.
That's right. We need a better name. Closed Setting Cinema is a bit lame, but is what it is. There's nothing else we can really call it.
We do our best.
It's true, we do. We're continuing with 1985's Clue, which is directed by Jonathan Lynn. Budget of 15 mil, box office of 14.6 mil, so it lost money. This is the movie that's based on the board game, or was the board game based on the movie?
Oh,
I'm pretty sure
no. Board game came out in like the 50s. This is definitely
so.
based on the game.
I thought so, because I was like, there's just like, I always thought this was like based on the board game, and then I was like writing the notes. I was like, I didn't even check when the board game was made, but then I was like,
it says it really quickly in the opening credits of the movie, like based on Hasbro, Clue, or whatever.
Okay, cool. Yeah, cool. So, quick synopsis: 6 guests are anonymously invited to a strange mansion for dinner, but after their host is killed, they must cooperate with the staff to identify the murderer as the bodies pile up. So, this is Clue. Ash, what's your history of Clue? What do you think of it?
It's long.
Long.
Yeah, so a little bit of back history. So I grew up in a board game family household. Like
Hell
I
yeah.
played board games with my parents probably 5 nights a week, if not cards or board games. Like I'm not joking. Every single week for most of my childhood until I was like a teenager. We just always were playing board games. And Clue was just one that I gravitated towards early on, loving. So I always loved it. And then I used to rent the movie at Blockbuster. Once I was aware there was a film about the game, I would rent the movie every so often. I'd seen it a handful of times. My first rewatch in a while. I think I watched it like 3 years ago, just on a whim. I was kind of like, I wonder if this is actually still good. So I watched it, and then I was kind of disappointed when I watched it as like an adult a few years ago. I was like, okay, it's like fun, but it's kind of outdated. And then I obviously watched it again this week. Felt the same way. I think it's not as funny. Like the jokes are definitely pretty outdated. I think the cast is fun.
The cast is great. The cast
the
is
dynamic.
Great. Yeah, I
I
agree
think
there.
Tim Curry makes this movie for me, though. I think without him, it wouldn't be really like watchable, just because the characters aren't super likable. But they're not really supposed to be. Like the whole premise of the game is that they all could be murder suspects, so they're not really supposed to be good people, ideally, or likable characters. But yeah, I think the set is fun too. Like the house and the way they design the set is fun. I think the game is worlds better than the movie, but I still think it's a fun movie. I think that it's rewatchable for me, at least, like every 5-6 years, just like when you want like a bowl of popcorn and just kind of sit there and have fun for 90 minutes. It's not an offensive movie, but it's not my favorite thing by any means.
I like that. Yeah, this is the first time I watched it. I loved Cluedo. Well, do you call it Clue in America?
We call it Clue, but yeah, Cluedo.
Yeah, Cluedo we call it in Australia. That's interesting. Yeah, that's why that's different.
Yeah.
So this is the first. I used to love Cluedo. I thought Cluedo was awesome. So it's definitely one of my favorite childhood games, board games. I grew up in like not a board game household, but I've grown into a board games like friendship group now, where like as I said, like the whole Bucks party, there was like 10 people, and we're just playing like. Have you ever heard of Avalon, the game?
Mm-mm.
Where it's like a social deduction, where it's like there's a group of 10, so there's like 7 good guys and 3 bad guys, but no one knows who's who, and you got to you go on quests to kind of figure out who's bad, which is awesome, and it's up there with one of my favorite games of all time. It's so fucking good. I love social deduction. But yeah, this is the first time I watched this movie, and I agree with you. I love this. It's fun. It's I was halfway through it. I was like, I would definitely pay tickets to see this as a stage play. I think this would be an awesome stage play, which I'm sure it has been many times anyway.
Maybe, yeah.
Whodunits are like one of the most popular stage plays. I think it is a bit too on the nose. Interesting point I was thinking was, are we thinking this way of like that we're not as impressed as we would have been in our childhood with this film because we're in like a post Knives Out life?
Yeah, I do think that's going to make it tougher for someone like you who's never seen it. I had seen it, so I
Yeah,
knew about all the different endings. I knew kind of where it took it, and I've played the game so many times, and it's like the more you play the game, the easier it even gets to guess who would, guess the right thing in the game. So I don't go into this movie now expecting it to like shock me, but I do think if someone was watching this for the first time in modern day and had seen Knives Out, they'd be like, that was pretty disappointing. So I definitely think that that has something to do with it. It's just such a well done who done it and so well beloved, even for someone like me, like who had seen this previous. I think Knives Out is a perfect film. So
yeah.
yeah, this is not even going to come close to that. It's not really supposed to. I don't think Knives Out is like based on Clue or anything. I think that they could have taken some inspo maybe from this movie or the game, but I don't think they're even supposed to necessarily be in the same category. They're
No,
just
I
very
think
different
it's.
films.
I think Knives Out's like loosely based on like Agatha Christie novels, like
Yeah, exactly. It feels
Poirot
more
and
novel
stuff.
based.
Yeah, for sure. Like Benoit, same. Benoit Blanc is definitely like Poirot, like 100%.
Yeah.
But I just like they go into a mansion like, hmm, it's gonna be tough not to compare this to Knives Out, like 100%. But
No,
like,
totally. Yeah.
I think it's completely different. Like this is much more tongue in cheek, while Knives Out does definitely has some comedy aspects. It's much more of like a gritty, realistic murder. You know what I mean? And family dynamic, which is pretty cool. So it's kind of different, but
Hmm.
like it's just the setting. It's literally just the setting. But yeah, nice. Let's get into it, Ash. So in 1954, one thing, sorry, to add on before this, I completely agree with you that every character here is despicable. Just like when they're like, I didn't even know who was in this, other than I knew Tim Curry was in this, and I love Tim Curry. Is he passed? I think he's passed, right? Tim Curry.
I think he might have passed. Honestly, there's so many celebrities I love that have passed. I
I
can't
know
even
we've been
like.
going through a tough year.
Yeah.
Nope, Tim Curry's 79, still kicking. Good on you,
Still
Tim.
kicking. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry, Tim.
good. That's what
No, I'm
like.
yeah glad about that.
I just wanted to like make sure I got the phrasing right of like is or was. But I knew Tim Curry was in this film, and he's spectacular in basically everything that he does. I think Tim
Hmm.
Curry is like one of the most underappreciated actors of all time. Um, I didn't know Christopher Lloyd was in this,
Yeah.
and there's like it takes 15 seconds for you to not like Christopher Lloyd. Like when he's in the car with a woman, and you're like, oh, what are you doing? But with was it
Hmm.
Professor Plum or Miss Scarlet? It was one of them.
Yes,
That
Miss
he's in.
Scarlet. Yeah.
Miss Scarlet, yeah. But yeah, let's continue. In 1954, six strangers are invited to a dinner party at Hill House, a secluded mansion in New England, which I think is pretty. The whole look of Hill House, I think, is sick. Like when the
Hmm.
car doesn't start, it goes, Why is the car stopped? It's frightened." And it's like little lines like that. I think are really
Yeah.
nice. They're met by the butler Wadsworth, which is played by Tim Curry, who gives them each of them a pseudonym, with none of them knowing or being addressed by their real names. So the guests are Colonel Mustard, Mrs. White, Mrs. Peacock, Mr. Green, Professor Plum, and Miss Scarlet, and are served by Wadsworth and the maid, Yvette. That's how you pronounce her name, right? Yvette?
Hmm.
Yeah. During dinner, a seventh guest, Mr. Bodie, arrives, who, to me, he just looks really weird. I don't know. They're trying to give him like hot guy vibes. Wasn't me. Afterwards, Wadsworth reveals the real reason that they're there. Mr. Bodie has been blackmailing the other guests, as well as Wadsworth and his now dead wife. It is later revealed for some time now. The group is here to confront him and turn him over to the police. Mr. Bodie, however, reminds them that he is arrested. That if he is arrested, their guilty secrets for which he has been blackmailing them will be exposed. He then gives each of the guests different weapons as a gift. This is very on the nose. A candlestick, a dagger, a lead pipe, a revolver, a rope, and a wrench, suggesting that one of them kills Wadsworth instead to avoid exposure and humiliation. When he turns off out the lights, a gunshot rings out, and when the lights are back on, they find Mr. Bodie apparently dead with no visible trace as to how. Wadsworth then goes on to explain that he was the one who arranged for everyone to meet at the mansion, knowing that Mr. Bodie was blackmailing them. He reveals that his late wife committed unaliving as a result of Mr. Bodie's manipulations, which drove him to try and help free them from the same cycle of blackmail by bringing them all together to force a confession out of him and then turn him over to the police. Later, the cook, Mrs. Ho, is found dead, stabbed with the dagger, and Mr. Bodie's body disappears, only to be rediscovered dead again with new injuries from the candlestick. So, Ash, kind of anything to add there of just like the reasons why they're there, I guess, and the introductions of all this entire group of people?
One thing I do think it is kind of funny. The way you're pronouncing it is totally fine, but I do think it's funny that like he's called Mr. Body.
Oh,
Like,
and I say Bodie?
yeah,
That's
just because
funny.
Mr. Body is just funny to me, like with it
I
being
did
like a
say
whole thing
Body,
of
yeah.
like
It's just
dead
written as
bodies
double
popping up.
D. That's right.
No, it's totally fine. I just think it's like it makes it a little bit funny. And I think one thing about this movie that might help people enjoy it a little bit more is I think, but I could be wrong, but the way I absorb it and the way that I think that the intention a little bit at the time, like think it's like mid 80s, I think it's supposed to be trying to do a little bit of like not quite the Naked Gun, but sort of almost like bordering on like
Yeah.
parody. So when you think about some of these things like on the nose, I don't think that they're trying to be like some super like smart, like who done it, like you're never gonna figure it out. I think because it's based on a game people love, I think their intention was to make it sort of almost parody-esque, like these characters are super tropey and like it's so on the nose with giving the gifts and they all get a weapon that looks just like the weapon in the game.
Yeah.
That's like
I
they even
love
like
the
the size of the
candlestick. It's
weapons
just a fucking
are
piece of metal.
yeah, like I think it's intentional. That's the way I take it at least, and I
Yeah.
think that that kind of helps if you think about it from that perspective where it's like it's not like for example something like Phone Booth, which we just watched, which is we kind of poorly rated, like that's just a bad movie to me. This is more like I can see people saying it's bad, but it's also sort of in that spoof parody type of style to where if you kind of know that going into it, you can maybe have more fun with it. So
Yeah.
just throwing that out there, that's something that I kind of pick up on just as someone who's watched it a lot more. But either way, yeah, I think the character introductions are they're fine. I really like Madeline Kahn, who plays Mrs. White. I just love that actress. So I think she's really like fun and interesting. I like how
She's cool.
she's wearing all black and she's Mrs. White, and like I just like the things that they kind of changed from the traditional game characters. I don't know if you remember some of the original like looking characters from the game cards. They look very different than a lot of these characters,
I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up. Cluedo.
which is just kind of fun. And then Mrs. Peacock is really annoying. That's definitely something I noticed very early on.
Oh, yeah.
Which
Big
she's supposed to be, of course. And then yeah, like the super tropey maid who's just like got barely any clothes on. It's just like it's very, very 80s, very tropey. And the comedy doesn't really hit all the time. Like the dog poop joke when they all come in is not very funny. Um, but yeah, I do like Tim Curry. I think he's really entertaining, and I think that the fact that they believed that Mr. Body was dead when there was no blood anywhere was pretty naive and pretty stupid.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I noticed that.
absolutely.
I was like, "There's no blood on him. What do you mean you're sure he's dead?"
Yeah, absolutely. That's so funny. Awesome. Wadsworth locks the weapons in the cupboard and is about to throw the key out when a stranded motorist arrives and is locked in the lounge. Wadsworth then throws the key out of the blacktop. Onto the blacktop, sorry. Colonel Mustard proposes they split into pairs and search the house, lol, to make sure that no one else is there. While they are searching, the motorist is killed with a wrench. Mustard and Scarlet find his corpse in the locked lounge, and Yvette uses the revolver from the now unlocked cupboard to break the keyhole. A police officer investigating the motorist's abandoned car arrives and comes inside using the phone. The guests resume their search of the mansion. The electricity is turned off. Yvette, the cop, and a singing telegram girl are subsequently murdered with rope, a lead pipe, and a revolver, respectively. Wadsworth and the others regroup as he turns the electricity back on, and he reveals he knows who the murderer is. He proceeds to recreate the events of the night so far to explain how the murders occurred. He reveals that the other 5 people who died with Mr. Body were his accomplices, who gave him vital information about the different guests. After Evangelist interrupts them, Wadsworth continues and shuts off the electricity again. So before we get into the endings, Anything kind of add there of like just the subsequent? I think the Telegram girl was pretty hilarious, and when they were like dividing two by two, or like everyone in groups of two, it just really reminded me of Scooby Doo a bit, of like going through like a
Yeah.
little haunted mansion or something. Like that's what it
That's where I
really
kind
gave
of
me.
said the cheesy kind of nature. Like it does. It feels like something that's a little juvenile almost, even for like the age of the characters.
Yeah,
Like they're really trying to make it extra silly. It just doesn't always land. I do think the bit with the matchsticks and how he's like, no, we're gonna draw them, and whoever gets the matching ones goes together.
yeah,
I do like that because it's like every character ends up with somebody like completely opposite of who they'd want to go with. Like even Michael McKean, who we haven't even talked about, who plays Mr. Green.
green. Yep,
He's like from This Is Spinal Tap and all the
that's
Christopher
right.
Guest
That's
movies.
what I knew from.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gay. Like he doesn't want to go with the maid, because of that reason. But then it's just like, of course, they get paired together. So I think they do like little cheeky things like that are really funny. And I like when all the little groups of two are kind of off looking at stuff together, and they really hype up like the suspense, for it with the music. I do think those are like some of the better moments of the movie. But yeah, that's really all I have to add. And then yeah, all the people showing up, all the jokes about like the cops are coming, and I do think it's interesting that like these people, like who would want to protect these people? They've all done such awful things.
I know all of them. Like, there's not one good person.
No.
That's so funny. All right. Well, in the theatrical showing, at this point, audiences would then be shown one of three following endings after Wadsworth brings the lights back up. In the home media, all three endings were included. So I saw all three endings. Did you? Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
So
I've never seen it in theaters, so I've always seen
yeah,
all
sweet.
three.
Sweet. So ending A and ending B identified as possible endings, but ending C being how the events really occurred. Ending A, Yvette murdered the cook and Mr. Body under orders from Miss Scarlett, from whom she once worked as a call girl. Miss Scarlett then killed her along with the other murder victims. She wanted to keep her business of extortion safe and now plans to sell the other guests' secrets. She tends to shoot Wadsworth, who asserts that there are no more bullets in the gun. Wadsworth then reveals himself to be an undercover FBI agent, takes the gun from Miss Scarlett and apprehends her. The evangelist is revealed to be a police chief who arrives with police officers and federal agents. To prove that the gun was empty, Wadsworth fires it towards the ceiling. However, it still contains one bullet, and the gunshot brings down the whole chandelier right behind Colonel Mustard, narrowly missing him. Again, the first time being when Yvette breaks the keyhole. Ending B. Mrs. Peacock killed all the victims to cover up her engagement of bribes from foreign powers. Mrs. Peacock holds the others at gunpoint while she escapes in her car, but she's caught by the chief, aka, again, the evangelist. Wadsworth reveals that he's an undercover FBI agent planted to spy on her activities as to secure her arrest. Ending C. So this is what actually happened. Each murder was committed by a different person. Professor Plum killed Mr. Body. Mrs. Peacock killed the cook. Colonel Mustard killed the motorist and picked out the key from Wadsworth's pocket. Mrs. White killed Yvette, and Mrs. Scarlett killed the cop. Mr. Green is therefore accused of killing the singing telegram girl, but Wadsworth reveals he killed her, and that he is in fact the real Mr. Body. The man Professor Plum killed was his butler. With the witnesses to each of their secret activities dead and the evidence destroyed, Mr. Body now plans on continuing to blackmail them all. Mr. Green suddenly pulls out a revolver and kills Mr. Body. He reveals himself as an undercover FBI agent who has been on Mr. Body's case. He brings in the chief, again, the evangelist, to arrest the others. Mr. Green then leaves saying, I'm not going home. Mr. Green then leaves saying, I'm going to go home and sleep with my wife, revealing that his early claim of being gay was just part of his cover. Wild last sentence, but pretty hilarious. So that is Clue. So Ash, give me a little summary, and what did you think of it, and your score, please.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know what ending is like, if you had a favorite ending. I've always thought that the first one was actually my favorite with Miss Scarlet. I just think that, I think that
I think that
actress
one's
plays,
fun.
yeah, she plays that character in a really fun way, even though she's not necessarily likable. I think that it's fun, and I think the fact that like Yvette could have worked for her, and like even just the scenes where you see, I think from a logical perspective too, right? Like if that's the only one that's not in the room with that, like I just feel like it makes the most sense logically, but also it's the most fun. And then obviously I think B is kind of stupid and unrealistic. And I think the idea that they all killed one person is fun for like the game because it's kind of
Yeah.
like six characters, six weapons, and they all kind of did one, which does kind of seem realistic as well. And then, yeah, I think Tim Curry is just hilarious in that last bit where he's just running around and talking so fast and running them through everything. And then, of course, one of the fun lines is communism was just a red herring.
That's such a good line.
Yeah.
Such a good line.
So, yeah, I give it 3.5. I've always kind of, at least in my later years, that's kind of where I've landed. I think it's fun. I would recommend it to kind of everyone to just like give it a try. And obviously, it's not going to be for everybody, especially in the modern day with things like Knives Out. But as the game lover, I still play the game to this day with Adam. Like I still love it. I just think it's a fun popcorn movie. Nothing more, nothing less. It's a fun time.
Hell yeah. I'm giving it 3. So it's just slightly below you. It might go up in time, but I just don't have that nostalgic tie to it. I think it's fun. I think, as I said to you before we started recording, if there's like really big Knives Out fans, I'd recommend watching this movie just to kind of show like where some inspirations came from. Definitely, I think the setting is definitely like from like a advantage inspiration.
Well, and you just kind of made me think of it as you saying setting. Like I was just thinking to myself, especially for the theme we're doing. Sometimes people are looking for a movie that is just to fit a specific type of vibe or theme.
Yep.
This is one of the best if you're talking about a closed setting movie. It's literally just takes place in this one setting, this cool mansion with a lot of cool design. Obviously, it's set in the 50s, so the vibe and aesthetic matches that. But yeah, I think if you're looking for like a true like closed setting film and you like whodunits or comedies, this is definitely going to be something that fits perfectly in that category.
Absolutely. Agreed. Absolutely. So next week, please go ahead and watch Dog Day Afternoon. There's an apartment below me, has a dog. It is barking incessantly. So if the mic picks that up, my bad.
They knew you were saying Dog Day Afternoon.
They may be. He might be watching. It's another film that I've never watched before. So
me too.
I'm really looking forward to.
I've technically watched it now at the time of recording this.
Yeah. I haven't yet, so I'm really keen to. I'm really keen to. So until then, we're just going to do a quick little draft. We're going to do something different this week, which is going to be fun. We're just going to do a draft of 5 each of our favorite board games. Because of course, Clue, aka Cluedo, which is the correct pronunciation of the board game. With this film being inspired by that, we think it's going to be kind of fun. So Ash, do you want to kick us off with the best board games?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think.
This is good because we're going to have completely different lists.
Well, and it's like, I'll be honest, I don't feel like I play a wide variety of board games, I guess, like most adults do. Like, I feel like a lot of my board game, like, playing in love was in my, like, younger years. And I still play some of those same games now. And I've played other board games, but I'm not like a weekly Catan player or something like that, where it's just like I'm curious to see how this goes. I feel like a lot of mine are going to be more nostalgic.
That's okay. That's why I think so. That's why I think, because you grew up in a board games family, and I've grown into loving board games.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I feel like the first one I would say is probably like the one I played the most in my childhood, one that like really got me into board games. And that's honestly Monopoly. So I feel like I have to take that first. It's not like my favorite one. Obviously, it takes for fucking ever.
Yeah, I fucking
But it kind of taught me like strategy a little bit, and kind of got me into the fun of playing board games.
For sure, love that. You mentioned my number one. My number one is Settlers of Catan.
I figured you'd pick a lot that are more modern.
Fucking love Settlers of Catan, man. Settlers of Catan's so much fun.
Cool. I still need to play. Adam and I actually have the 2-player version because we never like are with enough people to play the real one. We just haven't played it yet.
So. I showed Megs it the other week with some friends, and she's like, "Can we play this 2-player?" I'm like, "I think so, but if there's a 2-player one, I'll get that and we can play it."
The next one I have to take because it's like one that's become like a fun thing with my husband and even like friends, but mostly with him and I. It's like the most competitive we get. And that's Sorry. I don't know if you guys have that.
Oh, yeah, we got Sorry.
But we play, actually, sometimes we get to the point where we get bored of playing with just like 2. So we'll each play 2, like color pegs. So we're each so 4 at one time, but we're both playing 2 players.
Yeah.
And it just gets really vindictive and really mean and really fun. Yeah, that's definitely
I love that.
probably my most played game.
I love that. My number two is going to be Avalon. It's a social deduction game. It's
What you're
awesome.
telling me about?
Yeah, it's so much fun. Like we played it again on at the Bucks party, and there's like 10 of us, and it was like it gets so heated. People are screaming at each other. It's so good. I love social deduction games. I think that's where it gets really fun. There was one guy that like one of our mates on at the Bucks. He I don't see him too much, but whenever I see him, it's like one of the people that you always just get along with. And he was sitting next to me the first game of Avalon, and I was bad. I was evil, and I just convinced him that I was good, like easily. Like he was saying like some two other people that must be bad, and I was like, I agree with you there. And I was like in my head, I'm like, you're my stallion, and I'm riding you to victory right now. And then like I destroyed his mentality so much that the rest of the weekend he just could never trust me, no matter anything I said around any other board game. So definitely Avalon is my number two.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, I feel like I'm not gonna know a lot of the ones you picked because like
It's
I'm
all right.
even like I'm kind of looking at like a best board games list right now, and I haven't even heard of half of these. I think I'm just a little bit of an old person when it comes to
No,
games.
no, it's
I
fine.
like the classics. Honestly, next I probably would take Clue. I mean, I play it a lot still. I played it a lot as a kid. I think it's a lot of fun. I think
Nice.
it's just kind of one of those classic games.
I love that. Love that. My next one would be Sky Team. That came out, I think, last year. Won like best board game of the year, and it's two player, and it's basically you're just rolling dice, and your whole. It's as if you're a pilot and a co-pilot, and you just got to land the plane. That's all it is. It is so like it sounds so simple, but like if you just look up Sky Team in the board, you'll see like how cool it looks, and it's like really like super simple, but in like in depth and at the same time.
Okay.
It's so good. And once you get the hang of it, it's like it's so fun.
Well, I'm always down to like get recommendations for new, like especially two-player games that
Yeah.
like Adam and I can play together. We have a closet full of games, and most of them are like the classic ones. But I'm gonna pick two for the last two that are like more modern
Sure.
ones. Azul, I'll take
Azul,
next. Have you
love
played
Azul.
that?
Good one,
That
yes.
one's really fun. Great strategy game. We've taught some friends how to play that one. Yeah, I really enjoy that one. It's just really fun and easy to get lost in.
No, I love that. I love Pandemic, but there is there's a game that's made around the pandemic theme, which has now taken over me and my friends' lives, which is Lord of the Rings: The Fate of the Fellowship, which you do like the start to the end of all the Lord of the Rings. You get from the ring from the Shire to Mount Doom. That's the whole point, and you have to do these missions on the way. It takes like 4 hours, but it is like truly spectacular. Like it is so good. Like when you have to like get like three perfect rolls at the end to like to successfully cast the ring into the fire, and you get two, and everyone's standing up just like fucking wanting this one last roll. It's so good. Fate of the
Yeah, I think that like the hard thing is like when we don't really do game nights as much because a lot of our friends that live near us have kids,
Yeah.
which makes it impossible to get that kind of time. They can't have 4 hours uninterrupted. But we used to do a lot of like card game, like Cards Against
Oh yeah.
Humanity or What Do You Mean? It was never really like board games.
Sure.
So I feel like it's always just Adam and I playing. So that's like a lot of times a lot of games are not two people only. The last one I'll take though is a two-person game, and it's for couples, and I highly recommend it
Yep.
for you and Meegs. But it's called Fog of Love.
Fog
It's
of
really fun. It's really extensive. It takes hours, and the first time you play through it, like takes a lot of like setup. But you basically each have like a personality that you like draw cards, and so it's like you pick your career, you pick like personality traits, and each trait and each thing you have different wants. So it's like someone might be high on creativity and someone might be low on sensitivity or high on intelligence or whatever, messy, clean, like there's all these different factors.
Sure.
And there's different packs. So like there's I Give It a Year or High School Sweethearts or Headed to the Altar or whatever it may be. There's all these different themes, and you play through like situations, and you're supposed to like create a character and like role play a little bit as those characters. And basically by the end you see if like you can end up together or if you kind of go in different directions. It sounds complicated the way I'm explaining it, but it's really fun.
Yeah.
And it has a board, it has cards, and it's technically a board game, just not in the
Sick.
traditional sense. But it's really fun, and it's specifically for couples, so I would definitely
Fog
recommend
of
it.
Love. I'm definitely
And
going.
there's a bunch of expansions. Like there's one that's like Trouble with the In-Laws or different things. We've bought in a couple of the expansion packs.
This
But
looks really cool.
yeah, it's really really cool. Yeah, we picked it up a couple of years ago. I think Adam got it when he was at Comic-Con
Oh, sick.
years ago. And
God, he's a sweetheart, isn't he?
he
I'm
is.
gonna
And we
buy
play
a
it a couple
board game
times a
called
year.
Fog of Love.
Usually the best thing to do is like you want to play it, like set it up, play it, and like play it a couple times under different themes in like one weekend because it's a lot of work to set up, and so you don't want to have to put it away and then set it up again.
Oh yeah,
So
nice. Well, my last pick is going to be Articulate. Have you ever played Articulate?
nope, I haven't played any of the games you've mentioned.
You'd love Articulate. If there's any one of these games for you to pick up, Articulate would probably be it. Where you're in like teams and like one person's going through the cards and it's basically like taboo. Where you see
Oh,
like
okay.
you see like the word flower or like or branch and you're like tree limbs of a tree and then like it'll say branch and you're like cool you can go on to the next one and you got like a little timer for each turn and it's like you just got to get around the
Okay.
ring. It's like it's really hectic and awesome but it's so sick. We did it on again at the Bucks on the weekend and the most that anyone's gotten in like I think it's like 30 seconds or 60 seconds the most that anyone's gotten is like 7 and I just
Gee.
like I raced one and I got 12 and I'm like standing up and I was like pot and I was like it's like you pour tea out of this like a kettle pot and I'm like throwing them in the air and I was like I had my teammates like nailing every single one of them and it was so sick that was
That's
sick
cool.
so
Yeah,
it's
I'll look into that one.
absolutely you'd love Articulate. So to reiterate, Ash had Monopoly, Sorry, Clue, Azul, Fog of Love. I had Settlers of Catan, Avalon, Sky Team, The Fate of the Fellowship, and Articulate. So that is it. So again, next week, please watch Dog Day Afternoon. We can chat through that. But until next time, I'm Harry. That's Ash. Love it at the movies. See you at the movies.